is Storyteller Stu. We're gonna get started with how to make a story. You can do this and pretty much everything else in the plugin through the use of commands. Some commands do need you to like have like a scene created for it to work, for like stuff with D&D and stuff like that. However, like my vision building it was like the Storyteller dashboard that you can see in Obsidian and stuff. So that's what we're gonna be using in this tutorial. But these can all be done with commands. Just hit new story and then new story, and it should pop up. uh Storyteller shoot, we have about 73 commands out here to do pretty much everything the plugin can do. So you can work with commands, but we will be working with buttons. New story. All right, as you can see, we made a new story with no entities in it at all. The gallery's carried over across stories. Yeah, and then in the settings, still in the theme of stories, you can set a custom entity system or a one story mode. Custom entity system lets you decide what entities are sent to what folders, etc. When you hit preview, it shows you how the plugin has resolved your folders, how it will store characters, locations, and you can change this to whatever you want within your vault. One story mode basically flattens the structure of the folders, so it's just one story instead of like having a storyteller suit and then a stories folder. It's just a stories folder, and then the rest come down underneath. Okay, honestly, now that we have an empty story, it'll be a really good time to show off how the templates work. So with templates, I designed it as sort of a library of entities that you can use as a starting point, inspiration, whatever. Let's apply this one. This is a template pack, and it has a bunch of characters, locations, events, and items. This basically gets you started, gets you running from an empty story to like actually having stuff on the page. A little bit of notification spam as it is creating all those at once, but once that's gone, as you can see, we have different characters here. All right, so we're gonna make a new template just so I can show off how to do it. Demo template. Just do the same. We will set this as sci-fi. Just one character. We'll do demo for the tag. Now, after making a template, as I showed off earlier, you can make a template with like multiple entities inside of it, and within those entities, you can manipulate some things like variables, links. I'm about to show you. First, see, we create an entity. So it's a character. You can leave the character's name blank so it doesn't like spawn a name, or you can leave the description blank. We will do demo description, and leave the character name blank just to show it off. Now we're about to go into variables. A variable is essentially a fill in the blank anywhere in the template. You type like for example, we're gonna do role. Now anywhere in the template that we type role, the value we set for role, whether it be text or whatever, will show up in that spot. And I will show that off with both of these. Let's go into the markdown section. This lets you edit the YML part of your note, the properties of your template note, and this part lets you edit the markdown part. Here we're just gonna type this character works as a, you will do role here, and we will do power level here. Now our template is ready, and we're ready to go in and establish any links if we want to make it so like this character is at a certain location at a certain time. You can at a certain location upon creation, you can do that through here. Or if you wanted to have like a certain magic, you can do that through here. We will do a location. We will do not required. Uh, I feel this is the most complicated part. The variables. This is how they work. So if you remember, we created a role variable and a power level variable when we were making our template. So now it's actually time to set them up and have them ready to ask you questions and let them know what type of variable they are. So we will do role first, just role twice. We will leave this one as text, but you can do a number, boolean, select. We'll leave this as text and have the default value be unemployed. Then you create that variable, and then if you remember, we created another one, power level, so we'll get that here too. We will make this a number, make the default value 9,000. And then we can go. Now, if we want to go through preview, right here, you'll see once we're actually creating the entity and putting and filling in stuff and stuff. But as you can see, role will appear here, and power level will appear here, and they will also appear where they be placed inside of the actual note. Now we'll save this template and then demo. We can also turn off the built-in ones for people who don't want to use a library and just wanna like have their own self-made library. We can do it like that. We hit apply template, and as you can see, it's asking us for the role and the power level. We will change the role to lawyer, and we will now give him a power level of over 9,000. And then we can name the character. We will name him Bobby. And we can pick any of our locations. These are just test locations that I made. We will do guest bedrooms. Right, and then we can hit apply template. And well, it didn't take us to Bobby, but just go over here and find Bobby right here. And as you can see, we have a new character made from the template. You can do the same thing with locations, items, same and events too. Same system for the variables that you can set up where you can have that be a thing. All right, so we'll look at the character Mirave, which I've already set up for this tutorial. So this is very similar to the character creation modal. Every character has a name. This image right here is the profile image for the character that shows up in the dashboard. Every character gets traits. These are tags in the notes, like the way Obsidian handles tags, description, a backstory, status, affiliation. You don't have to fill everything in as you're creating a character, but I do have everything here filled out. So just so I can show it off for the tutorial. You can link the character to a location. You can do this before creation and after creation. You can come into the edit modal to change it. You can link the character to a culture. You can link the character to a economical system and then give it like finances and stuff. This ties into D&D a little bit. You control the character's inventory from the create modal and the edit modal. You can add or remove the character from groups from this modal too. You can set connections. The connections can be custom. They can be set ones that we've already coded into the plugins. And lastly, you can add custom fields to the character. Just for people who want to create. Let's say you want to add new fields to your character that I didn't think of. Go ahead. So you can also open the character sheet from here. As you can see, this is the Mirave character sheet. You can look at different different themes of it. It's also possible to design your own. You can also design your own character sheet template using basic HTML. You go to the settings and the templates tab and scroll to the bottom to be able to do this. I also wanted to point this out here. If you notice, the values that we set in the edit modal or the create modal, whichever step that you're on, they show up here. And if you notice right here, Harbor Patrol / Blue Oath, this is in two groups, has two affiliations, linked. You can come here and remove them from one of the groups, and then go back and remove, edit it accordingly to our thing. Locations work the same way as characters and share the same dual bidirectional entity linking system. I'll show that off with the beacon market one here. First, let's look at the location cards. This right here is the type that you set in the edit modal. This can be anything. We can change this from Civic Tower to just Tower. And it updates on our dashboard. We can also change the status from active to ruins. And while we're at it, I'll show off the parent location. As we can see here, Glass Harbor is the parent location of the parent location of this location, and it all updates as we update everything. So if we go to Beacon Market and we scroll down to child locations, as we can see, Council Bell Tower shows up. And if we go down to the Glass Harbor and we scroll down to child locations, the Beacon Market shows up and all the other child locations show up. And as we make updates across the system, whether it be using a command, editing the front matter of the note directly, or using the editing modal, it all connects to itself. All right, this can lead us right into maps. Maps are tied to locations. You make a map based off a location. You can choose a template for a map. You can choose the corresponding location for said map. Let's look at a complete map for an example. Like this is a map for the Glass Harbor. You can set the width, and then we will actually open the map to look at it. And all these entities spawned from putting them on locations. However, you can also place entities on the maps by using the bar at the bottom here. And this like bidirectional like linking is like pretty much the theme of this plugin, you know. Like I pretty much set it up where I can do one thing, I can change one thing in a character and it changes across everything. You can add a character from here, or you can do it by adding characters to locations and items, locations, etc. So just like the other tabs, the item tab supports creating an item and having that item linked to other entities. We will use the archive key shard, for example. This item is a plot critical item, just a little visual thing that you can mark. You can use to mark items that are important to your story. We will set the current owner as Vosmir, and we will save that. Go to the character Vosmir, come down to his items, and now he has the memory charter and the archive key shard both in his inventory. And if we were to remove it, hit save changes, items, he is no longer an owner. And just like other entity systems in the plugin, we can also click that edit button on the groups to edit their front matter and add entities to them or change things about them. I'll add some stuff to the history. add a location to the group. This basically just groups this location. Let's say you had a group called the Akatsuki. Their hideout could be also a part of their group. We'll give them the beacon market. Save changes. We go to the note. Characters all show up here. All right, now we will go over what I call the world building tabs. These tabs came off of a feature request from users asking for a place to put like just something that didn't fit in the plugin at the time, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense to fit in the plugin. The cultures tab allows you to create a culture and also link it to people and locations. You can also link it to an economy. The economies tab allows you to create an economy system, set a value for the economy system, set locations where the economy system works in, and set characters that participate within that economy system. This status is kind of arbitrary, but it's also a visual thing. The economy system is also arbitrary, but it's also a visual thing for the dashboard. For magic systems, this one I added because it kind of tied into the story that I was writing, and it made sense to build into the D&D part 2. So and then we have the compendium tab, which is essentially the lore entries of the plugin, where you can create a entity type. Essentially, if you wanted to create something like a race, the compendium would be the place to do it. You can create a race. You can give them a rarity, give it a danger rating. You can add characters who are like of that race. You can add items that are connected to the race and magic systems that are connected to the race. If you also want to do something like a fantasy monster, which is why like I created this tab. Some user asked for a feature, asked for it on GitHub. They're trying to create a monster, so you can also do like a monster with that and have like create characters of that monster type using this tab. There's also the magic systems tab, which we won't get really into today as it's mostly arbitrary and visual right now. I plan to build it out a lot more when I do a big D&D update to make it work with that and have the numbers there affect the stuff here too. Now for what I feel like is one of the biggest payoffs of the plugin, the network graph. Every link that you've made throughout your vault comes together and makes a network graph that features the profile images of all the characters. Every entity is a node, so characters, locations, events, items, cultures, etc. all come to the network graph with their profile images, with the characters that are more connected than others appearing bigger than others. So if an item has more people connected to it or has more places within it, it appears bigger than other items, allowing for a visual hierarchy. And then when you hover over a node, you can see its edges. Its edges show the connections, and some of these are decided by the plugin. Some of these are typed out by you. The plugin also features colored edges to define relationships like allies, enemies, family. The writing tabs all by establishing a visual hierarchy throughout all of your writing. You can view it in a list form where you can assign scenes to chapters. You can move scenes between chapters by clicking the scene and editing what chapter it shows up in. You can also edit the different front matter properties of the chapters from within this edit modal. The writing tab also features some different views to view your writing, such as the board view, which you can open here in the dashboard or you can open in the panel. You can also view such of an intensity arc for your writing, viewing the different high points and the low points. You can view a heat map of a character's presence throughout different chapters. And lastly, a sort of scanner that goes through and tries to find issues within your writing and points it out. Like if a character were to be in a note where they just shouldn't be in, it will try to find that. Or if you had some writing issues, the plot hole detector could also bring that up, like scenes without content, so you don't end up going into the next step, which is compiling with these issues with you. Before that, I'd like to show off the storyboard, which lets you visually view your story on the obsidian canvas, lets you visualize your connections between different scenes and stuff between an obsidian canvas, lets you visually join links between chapters, and the links that you form between chapters and scenes stay between sessions. The books tab lets you put your chapters and scenes that are already grouped together and group those together into a book for people writing a series. And I feel like the best feature that comes with this is the ability to click this button and it creates a draft in the next tab, the Compiles tab, which lets you take your writing and compile it. So the Compiles tab has some built-in formats like a reader draft, editor draft, beat outline that would just take your beat sheets and stuff and put that together for people who just want a quick synopsis of their novel. I guess, and the next would give you a synopsis. You can do a printer friendly. You can also create steps with JavaScript. As you can see, I created some here just to show it off. This will create a title page. This is all JavaScript. I'm not gonna get into what it does, but like you'll see the output at the end. But there's also I also made these two steps. This creates a dramatis personae, which is like I don't know, like a table of content for characters within the story, I guess, or like a list of the characters. You'll see once it compiles. And then lastly, this is also JavaScript to create a glossary. And then here, this is how you edit a workflow. These are the different steps. All these steps are built-in steps that I already have. You can clean content. You can join. The join step is always required to like join things. You can either join by chapters or you can join by scenes. I'm gonna be joining by scenes here. I already built this workflow and I know what it's gonna look like. I'm just trying to show something special for the tutorial. But still, the steps that I use, strip front matter, which is to strip the properties because we don't need that if it's like if we're like trying to publish this as if it were a book or something. Extract content section to get the actual content from our notes. Then to prepend the chapter title to then take the chapter titles from all the content that we extracted and add it before every chapter. We stripped the scene titles because I didn't like how it came out with the scene titles. Then we can join. Then afterwards you can create your own steps for JavaScript. It can be scene or manuscript steps, but mine are all manuscript steps that will take everything that we have and then work on them. The character one I already explained that it's going to create a little table of content of characters. This will create our title page, and this will give us a glossary. I'm gonna use steps to export to HTML and to Markdown. And then we will hit compile manuscript, and this is the markdown version. I will put it in reading mode if I can reach it. And this is our title page. This is the dramatis personae. This is all done by my JavaScript. I had JavaScript pull the images and the text. And this is our chapter content. And then get a look at the HTML version. It looks something like this. Okay, so while we talk about the analytics tab, which is auto generated, it generates as you keep writing, and it grows with you, and it shows you your like how many characters you have, your events, how many point of views you have, how present characters are throughout your stories and stuff like that. Um, I didn't discuss the timeline in this tutorial, which is kind of I guess one of the like most attractive features. However, I'm completely redesigning that. When I first made the plugin, I didn't know any TypeScript at all, so I relied on a library, and that's kind of limited me to what I want to do. I'm trying to do a full blown dating system where you can like create your own month. You can create as many months as you want with as many days as you want, and this timeline just doesn't allow that. So I will be holding off on a timeline tutorial for now. However, the timeline as it works right now is mostly auto generated. As you make new events, they appear on the timeline. There is commands to like auto generate timeline tracks that'll like uh it'll like split your it'll like split your it'll like give you different timelines based on characters. However, that'll look a lot better, and just it would make a lot of sense to just finish the finish the new version and then make a tutorial for that than to cover it in here. And same with the D&D version. Right off the bat, like the D&D version was gonna get a remake because right as I released it, I had users reaching out to me saying like, as somebody who's played like a lot more D&D, I think this would be a better way to implement it. So I am going to re-implement it to match what users have told me. And thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Thank you for using the plugin. Sorry if the tutorial feels kind of rushed and bare bones. I'll totally answer questions down in the comments. I have a bunch of stuff going on. I have stuff coming up pretty soon, so I'm just trying to get it all done.